What's good, ladies and gents? Welcome to the MKO Pugilism Boxing channel where we talk all things boxing. Remember always to like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, put it on all so you get notified of all the latest content as and when it drops on the channel. So let's get into this one. So we had the little men on display last night. One of my favorite fighters, Chocolatito Gonzalez, in a trilogy against Juan Estrada. This one early hours of the morning for us over here in UK, and this was a trilogy. These guys one-on-one going into this fight. Many people sort of thought that Chocolatito deserved to take the last one. Bit of a controversial decision, and this one was sort of the decider of the lot. So two very good fighters, very high level stuff, and yeah, there were many questioning who needs this more, who needs this victory more. And yeah, as it started, opening bell rang, both men set to work. I would say that definitely Estrada had the much better start. They always say in Chocolatito's corner that they like to sort of take the first round to analyze, to, you know, they don't really train for specific fighters. They take the first round to analyze, take in the data, download the data, as they say in these days, and sort of analyze and adapt from that round onwards. So yeah, the first round, quite one for Chocolatito, much better round for Estrada. Estrada was outboxing Chocolatito, and this pattern pretty much continued through, I want to say, at least the first third, at least the first 4 or 5, you could say maybe even sort of the first. I would give Estrada maybe, you know, a good share of the first 6 rounds, really, because he was pretty much outboxing Chocolatito. He was, you know, he's the younger man, so he was quicker. The hand speed was on full display, and he was able to pretty much light up Chocolatito with fast combinations, you know, very quick. He kind of boxed on the back foot, but it wasn't like being pressured too much, and you know, he seemed to sort of relish this back foot boxing, as whenever Chocolatito would try and come in, he would have to eat about 3-4 shots to come in. And Chocolatito, he's got good defenses, so he was moving his head, bobbing and weaving, but he was having to eat some of these shots, and he was getting really outgunned and outboxed, and he wasn't really able to land too much of his own. You know, it was very, I would say that first half of the fight at least was pretty much one-way traffic in favor of Estrada, because Estrada was, you know, his game plan brilliant. You know, he'd set a fast pace, and he basically had Chocolatito sort of playing catch up through that first half of the fight. I think Chocolatito was well behind. He was struggling to sort of get into the fight. He couldn't really get to grips with things through that first half. It was just pretty much one-way traffic. He was, you know, in some instances he was sort of being outclassed there. So yeah, very, you know, excellent stuff from Estrada. You know, first part of the fight, so that, you know, that was excellent by him. And by the time we got to sort of, you know, that 7th round, and pretty much throughout the first part, Chocolatito's corner was telling him, listen, this is not what we practice, this is not what we train for. I don't like what I'm seeing, I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. We practice putting it on him, putting pressure, you know, where are the combinations, what's going on? So the corner was very, you know, animated and quite upset with Chocolatito Gonzalez through that first half. And, you know, he needed like an injection of pace or some sort of energy. It seemed like he just was off the pace, you know, in that round. And they were talking to commentary about maybe he's got old now, you know, because it kind of looked like that in a sense, because he was like a few steps behind Estrada. But fortunately for Chocolatito, he gets his second win, but it's in about round 7. And by that point, at least, although I wasn't scoring it round by round, I was thinking, well, he needs to kind of sweep these last rounds, you know, from 7 to 12. He needs to put his stamp on it. He needs to sort of be quite dominating throughout this, and he did come right back into the fight, and he did almost do that. I think the you know, you could give him a lot of those championship rounds from set. You can give him a lot, like from 7 to 11 maybe, and then round 12 he did have a good round, but I think Estrada had a kind of better round 12. So between sort of 7 and 11, Chocolatito, he upped the pace. He started to land those combinations that we know him for, started to land to the body. The right hand came into play, and it was as if in that 7th round he'd just been woken up suddenly. It's like he was sleeping for the rest of the fight, and suddenly he's woken up and now he's ready for action. And he came on very strong from the 7th onwards, and he did take a lot of those latter rounds. So going into the 12th, it was relatively close, but in my opinion, although I wasn't scoring it, I felt that Chocolatito really needed to win that last round in order to get the fight, in order to even get a draw, to get the fight itself. I felt he really needed that, and then in the end he ended up not getting that. So the 12th round, at least in my view, and I think most people, if you watch it, in your view as well, will probably be, Chocolatito loses that 12th round because Estrada goes back to boxing, back to the combinations, and he has a much better round than Chocolatito does. So for me, he won that 12th round and he won the fight, and in the end, decision was made. There it was. Estrada ends up winning a trilogy, and for me, it was a decent fight. Chocolatito, basically, in my opinion at least, he sort of cost himself the fight by not starting quick enough. He needed the energy that he had in round 7, where he got his second win, is the same sort of energy and the same sort of pace that he needed to set from the word go. And I think for me, looking at the fight quite carefully, that was sort of, at least in my view, what cost him the fight. The fact that he kind of started slower, he lost a good few of the first half of the fight, and then obviously he gave himself an uphill battle to climb when he did start coming into his own and he did start throwing and landing combinations. When he got that second win, he had an uphill battle to fight, and I think personally that he left himself too much to do in that fight. Maybe it's a case of age, maybe he couldn't do it, maybe it was conserving energy, but whatever it was, that first half of the fight for me is where the fight was lost for him, because he had a good second half but then lost the 12th. But had he started earlier, he would have been in with a shout and he could have possibly won it. But you never know, it could be one of these things where he may not have it in him anymore to do this for 12 round. But it's no disgrace for him. But at the end of the day, you got to take your hats off to Chocolatito. You got to take your hats off to Estrada. So good win for Estrada. Very, very good performance. He done exactly what he needed to do to win, and it was impressive stuff. Good fight and deserving winner there. So let me know your thoughts on this fight in the comment section below, and until next time, it's MKO Pugilism over and out.